What up, what up, what up, everyone? It's Andrew again. You reached the end of Unit 4, so give yourselves a pat on the back. Y'all are some real coders right now, so we're going to put it all together and actually create a project that you can show your friends and everything. So, but before we do that, we actually want to just do our do now. And let's take a look. This do now is pretty much summarizing all of the things that you just learned over the unit. So first thing we want to do is we want to create this over here with our code, and we want it to show up here. So the first thing, actually before I get into that, I'm going to pause it here. And then after that, I'm going to actually go over the do now. So I'm going to pause and wait 2 seconds. Okay, great. Now we're back. So now we're just recapping what we are trying to do over here. So first thing I see is I look at my HTML. Do we have a parent tag? Yes, we do. The parent tag, the parent class is container. So I'm going to go into our CSS because that's what we do when we want to initiate things, having things go horizontally, right? So we have the parent. I need display flex. Now everything is horizontal. Great. It kind of looks like things need to be centered here. So if I want to center it, I got to do justify content, center, boom. Okay, we rolling now. Next thing I want to do is add a border. I need 3 things. I need the thickness, the style, and I need the color. I'm gonna put blue here just because. Now, first of all, this is too thick, so I need to put maybe 5px. That looks about right. If we're actually looking at the color here, you see that this color blue is a little bit different, right? So instead of, and it looks like it's this around the same color as this over here. So if I just want to go down here and look at the blue square, you'll see it has like a hashtag here. This is also called a hex code. So you know how you want like a blue, but you want like a specific kind of blue. We use hex codes to like actually pinpoint exactly what kind, like what shade of color you want. And that's what we'll use here. It's used in the same way as you would if you're just saying like the color. So we're just gonna add that there, and then we have that. Looks like we also have some padding. So let's add a little bit of padding. And now the last thing we need to do is create some of this space in between each of these squares. So we want to maintain each of these squares like uniqueness, right? So that's why we have 4 different classes for these squares. But if we want to unify them in like one thing, and the one thing being that their space needs to be the same, we need to create another uniform class. So we go into our HTML and add a second class. This is what we went over in our last class, in 4.4. So I'm just going to say space because space just seems to be like a good name for this. Obviously, nothing has changed, but if you notice, what we really need to do is space. We need to add margin to each of these elements. I'm going to do that here, maybe 5px, and voila, that's about right. It's probably a little bit less than that, but y'all get the gist. Maybe 2px. Yep. So then now y'all have done it. Good job. We use multiple classes here. We use display flex and justify content. We use the border padding, things that we learned from earlier on in the unit. So now let's head back into our slides. And we're going to go over like the project. So over the course of like 2 classes, coders will use the properties of the box model, divs, flex boxes, and multiple class attributes, as well as pair programming techniques to create a social media page for someone who inspires them. So in Unit 4, just to recap, we use properties of the box model to change how elements are displayed on the web page. We use div element to group and organize elements of a page into sections. We use flexbox to align things to go horizontally on the page. We use multiple class attributes to style specific classes of elements on the page. And then we also did pair programming with our partners, utilizing the roles of the navigator and the driver. And if you're watching this, you might be watching it alone. So I'll touch on that in a moment. But what we're going to build together is a social media page. So a social media page for a person that inspires you and your partner. And if you're doing this alone, you can just do like someone who inspires you. You don't have to do that with a partner just yet. So what we want to do is actually take a look at our example. I'll go over the details in a bit, but this is essentially what you're creating. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but notice how on this page, like you'll see the padding, the border, the divs with inside of divs, like the nested divs. Also see just like multiple classes used like all over here. And this is a beautiful website. And even if it doesn't look just like this is the basic gist. We have a project plan over here that kind of runs through all of the things that you need to know for the project. Project objective, you want to be able to use like the box model and divs and flex boxes, all that good stuff. When you're doing your brainstorming, here's like everything that you need for that. And also I'll get to the wireframe in a moment, but here's everything that you need. So now let's actually head back to our page over here. And I'm sure all y'all been on, I don't know when this is like being watched, but it's like early September. And I know TikTok is going through a lot of stuff. I don't know if TikTok will be around in a couple weeks or months. But say it is, y'all have a social media page. I want you to think about the websites that you use, and also who in the world inspires you and why. And so this can be a family member, a public figure, a fictional character, or just anybody. But the goal here is just to like answer these 2 questions. If you're doing this with a partner, take some time to talk about this. If you're doing this on your own, feel free to just reflect by yourself. You can pause it here and answer those questions. Cool. So now you kind of got a gist of like what the project will look like. You can draw on your knowledge of like the websites that we just mentioned to try to recreate something like that, or you can just kind of create your own thing. No limits here. So here we are going to just take a look at the rough draft portion. I know you're probably thinking like, how the heck do you like put together a whole website, a social media website? Same way that you would write a rough draft before writing like your essay. So the rough piece of this looks like this. This is an actual social media website. Take a guess what you think that social media website is. Okay, if you guessed correctly, Twitter is what it is. Notice how it kind of looks, but maybe if you didn't get that one, maybe you'll get this one. So this is a wireframe, which I'll go over in a second, of another website. What do you think this one is? This one is pretty obvious. Yes, this is Facebook. It looks just like Facebook. I know Facebook has gone through an update recently, so it might look a little bit different, but you get the basic gist. And then what is this website? Yep, this is YouTube. Everything look really bare here, but it just looks really dope here. It actually comes out. So a wireframe is what you actually just saw. It helps you lay out the actual website that you want to create, and it's a really great way for everyone on your team to agree on what the website is going to look like, and not just like theoretically. You can actually build it before you start coding. And so the thing about wireframes is that they should be pretty simple. Don't stress too much about it. There are really no rules to wireframing, but there are some key things that we want to just like highlight as you are creating your wireframes. So a box with an X, that's like typically an image. If you want to have like a area for text, you don't need to write everything out at the moment. You can just write some squiggly lines, like that's fine too. A box with the text or an icon inside represents a button. And yeah, so before you actually start building your page, before you start coding, I want you all to like actually plan what this is going to look like. You could do this on a piece of paper. You can do it using other tools that your program manager can share with you. But again, we took a look at what this actually looks like, our example, and yeah, so if you actually took the time to look at the wireframe for this particular website, it's actually really interesting. So take a look at it now, and then take a look at what was created ahead of time to lay it out. So it's pretty spot on. Obviously, it didn't have all like um, the text written out, but you know that's like the basic gist. So that's what you're actually going to be doing with your partner. If you don't have a partner, no worries. You can do this on your own. And yeah, just you want to map out the page to make it look nice. Um, Again, I'm gonna head over to this project plan just to revisit a few things to note. These are some of the questions that you should be asking in addition to like your completing your wireframe. This is where you'll be completing your wireframe. You need 3 sections on the page. Like, so think about what sections that you actually want to highlight about this person. It could be, you know, where they're from, what their interests are, or, you know, something else. And then want you to plan out with your partner, like how to collaborate, who will be the driver and the navigator, which I'll go over in a moment. But also take a moment to look through this rubric down here. This rubric has a step-by-step of everything that you need in order for you to get a complete score. So everything is here. So this is a document that you want to keep close to you, right? So you can pause it now and take some time to project plan and do your wireframe. And then once you're done with that, we'll come back here. And one more thing. So once you are completed with the that part of like your brainstorming and wireframe, I want you to map out your who's going to be your navigator, who's going to be your driver. So again, navigators are the ones who are planning the next step and reviewing the type code. You know, they're telling you like where to go. The driver is the one actually like doing the typing. And together you are, actually working through this. So it's not one or the other. You guys are working as a team. And then once you complete maybe like one portion of the page, you can rotate. And so as a reference, just try to ask for before you actually ask like a volunteer. Use your reference table, use Google, use your partner or another team, and then you can ask the teachers for help. So let's get started. I think a really good thing that you could probably finish today by the end of class is completing your navigation bar. And that's just like the thing at the top. Figure out who's going to be the navigator and who's going to be the driver. And the timer over there is just like a guideline, but you don't have to abide by like 10 minutes, switch on, switch off. But do eventually, rotate. So you get experience doing both. All right. Cool. So in closing, make sure that you are going through your rubric and checking off what you've accomplished. And yeah, that's about it. So pause it here if you are done with day one. If you want to continue on, I'm here. We're going to move into day two. It's, again, pretty straightforward. Just look through your rubric, look through your project plan, and figure out who's going to be the navigator and driver for today. And yeah, today just continue working. If you finish early, add some more sections and using different animations on your page if you can. And just make it work. Cool. So once you're done with that, add create a snapshot, add that to Google Classrooms, and you're done. So then now you just completed your first pair programming assignment, which is dope. Think about like what was like the most difficult part about the project, but then also like what you really enjoyed. And we really hope that this is going to be like a fun project for y'all. So that's about it. Thank you again for being here. Y'all are doing some amazing things. Y'all are really coding out here. Proud of y'all. And good luck on this project. If you have any additional questions, just reach out to your teachers. All right, deuces.